the finals, and we do have another match later on today. They'll face off the winner between the Kings and the Tartarus Titans, which either of those teams is going to be a fierce competition between these, especially after the performance we saw from the Tartarus Titans yesterday, 3-1ing the Jade Dragons. Not an expectation that I think a lot of people may have had. Tartarus Titans really coming out to play, but we're going to have to see how the Olympus Bolts and Leviathans do here for game number 1 of the semifinals. We'll take it to Gore, Miser, and Aggro to bring us the action.
That's right, Gore, Aggro, and Doug hanging out here for the Bolts versus Leviathans. A tumultuous history when it comes to playoffs between these two teams. Leviathan and is slowly but surely encapsulating the Bolts, and there's going to be a good wall, a good cage to lock down BRZA, and they've got the burst damage for it, but he's going to use the beads. He's walking through, hits the shield that ends up detonating, finds the kill, and Jake just has to watch as his carry dies.
And that's exactly what I expect from Panatom on this pick. Walk over to duo lane, cage the Apollo, especially when he's pre-level 5, means that damage output for the Leviathans in the early game, not super scary, because Shinto on Tiamat, that's not an early game damage pick, so you're going to need some extra damage coming from Zapman and Wrong U in particular.
Well, speaking of Wrong U, locked down. The cage gets dropped by Panatom, though, looking to lock away.
Wow!
With a big ult comes ripping through to get the damage out there, but they aren't able to pick up more than just Wrong U. Haddock's incredibly low, but a great heal keeps him alive for the fight. Good disengaged damage coming out from Venenu. And they might even want to look further more for this fight. Woo! The Bolts jump back in. Jake just waiting for Zapman to come through the wall, and Vin's going to be able to pick up the kill. Shinto is one more box on their checklist, and then Yarkor versus the world. Only his tower to save him. It looks like it's enough.
Might be. I mean, 3 people still here. Yarkor will not get dove, and a great response from the Leviathans. I mean, after Ben hits, go Relic Dagger, have Blink Phantom, upgrade them both, and be ready to use them all.
Maybe be proactive, and that's what they're doing on the map. Bolts just barely able to get the Pyro, but they lose Lasbra for it. Shinto with the ult over the wall locks down the Gilgamesh. And so a fair trade, and now it's the aggression on the Zap. Beads get forced because Jake uses the ult. He goes up into the sky, comes crashing back down. No one from the Bolts right next to each other. That Pyromancer helping out, but really just the farm. A lot of steals that have been going their way. A good portal from Vin forces Wrong U to rethink his engage under the tier 1 tower in mid. In fact, Jake is going to get aggressive. Lazarus here. Winds of Shamash get dropped down. Wrong U brought back into the fight. A good freeze, but it only connects on the jungler. Lazarus jumps out. They still haven't found the kill just yet. A great cage, though, from Panatom. Locks up Lasbra. They end up trading jungle for support, but they're looking for more. The Bolts continue diving in.
But they don't have enough to kill Panatom quite yet. Portal, a little bit mistimed there from Ven as well, and with him out of mana, that will do it for this. Bolt's in a really good position now.
Yeah, not just dropping the ward vision they already had, even more wards getting thrown out there. Zap has to use his beads. Aegis is available, and ult is available, but he gets burned down before he can get up into the sky. Nowhere to go, and that is a clean kill for the Bolts. Maybe even a clean rotation in now to the Gold Fury. They're going to start up.
Zap does have ultimate when he respawns. That doesn't take the cooldown when you die on warm-up like that, but I don't think this Gold Fury is going to be around in 25 seconds. Looks like the Bolts are going to have it.
Nobody right now from the Leviathans showing face around there. Bolts get the Gold Fury. Panatom's looking for a little bit more. Might actually have bitten off more than he can chew. The leap gets him to the other side of the Bolts line. And it looks like they're going to be able to disengage. And ult from Yarkor separates the two teams.
I mean, Jake has been in everywhere. He's been a part of every single kill so far for the Bolts. Been in a very good position.
Oh, there's the ult from Shinto, a portal coming in from Vin, who's about half health. Lasbra is now taken down to half health. Panatom looking to get aggressive. Haddox gets stunned out, and the cage is dropped, but he is the one who picks up that Phantom, as you had highlighted earlier. He walks right through the cage. Vin has to use the ult to disengage, but they're going to keep chasing under this tier 1. Lasbra, Haddox, both half health. There's a single portal on the wall, but no one's going to make it in time. Haddox finally goes down.
Yeah, just a good fight from the Leviathans, using this global pressure yet again. This time, BRZA did use the ult. And then if they show up, I'm going to Giannis ult us out of here, and we're going to all take the portals. And I feel like every time people say that, they then don't take the portals and die. But that time, the Bolts are on the same page.
Jake's looking for blood as of right now. Good body blocks. Wrong, you can't go anywhere. The Winds of Shamash get dropped. The Ymir has nothing to do and nothing to say. Gets taken down, and Haddox, Jake, and now BRZA want more. BRZA dives onto Shinto, gets some good damage out there. The portal taken by Vin, of all people. A drop kick into the wall forces Zapman to get stunned out. He has the dash, but it is the chase from the Bolts right now. They're looking for more. Shinto manages to get the back off, but that is more than you could say for Zapman. Killed off right outside his right Phoenix.
Yarkor still has that ultimate, but portal's there from Vin once again. 2-0-5 on this Giannis cooldown though, Gore. This is where the Leviathans, I think, might be able to make a play happen. Now that Phantom's down, we've got Open Cage back up. Zapman's up in about 10 seconds, but he has no ult. I think I still might be looking to be aggressive here among the Leviathans. Shinto still has Aegis.
We'll see what they decide to do. The Bolts got their backs off. Jake just uses his ult and gets some good damage onto Yarkor. Great stun from Haddix keeps them engaged, but they are looking for that fight. Unfortunately for Shinto, he doesn't have much to say about it. Burned before he can do anything. Panatom body blocked, locked down. Barracuda picks up the kill there, and what was a 4v5 turns very quickly into a 2v5 with the Leviathans running.
Now the difference there in that fight is ward coverage. The Bolts have a ton, the Leviathans have near zero. And this is where those marginal advantages sometimes materialize. Not so much in the items or
Vin has through space and time. I think he's waiting for the call from his team. Lazarus looking for the 1v1 on Panatom, but that's the cue to go in for Jake on the other side. He's going to get aggressive. There's through space and time.
Aegis.
Beautiful Aegis from Zapman keeps him from taking that damage, but then forced to use his bead as Jake jumps up on his head and tries to throw him back to his team. Not going to be able to find that. A good wall from Rongyu, but Yarkor's just taking up so much damage. Phantom forced to be used, Haddix falls back, but the Bolts have the advantage in positioning.
This should be the left side Phoenix, but Shinto's still here. Rongyu trying to get his back off. It gets a double stun, but he won't live through it. Lasbra is able to find kill number 10 for the Bolts.
The damage turnaround is trying to be there. Shinto's looking for more and does
Barrel
find the
stuffs
kill onto Venenu. Now just looking for the chase down, trying to find anybody else, but he goes way too far, and BRZA just finds the great crits. Haddix does go down and loses his life. They
Nice
only
kick.
have Jake, and they have Haddix, but that's all they need. They're going to find one more for the Dia side and take game number 1 under the left side Phoenix.
BRZA just under no pressure whatsoever. My man's isn't in the studio, and he isn't in the minds of the Leviathans in that team fight. No one's able to look at him. Shinto jumps in, but
my gosh.
again, the Bolts just are able to control the pace of these team fights so well. Their front line doing a ton of work in that game, making sure that BRZA and Ven were under minimal pressure.
I'd be surprised if you don't see any aggression on duo lane. I think it's such an easy lane to play through these days.
Taco is the resident. Oh, never mind. We'll hold that thought, and we'll have to see how it actually pans out in the game 4. We got Gormizer and Aggro standing by for game 2.
That's right, and we'll see right here, right now, who's going to be able to find themselves a good advantage. And, yeah, it feels like there's just as much that is going for the Leviathans, maybe going against them. Right now, it's held damage. Not quite a connection there from Shinto. Vin is just barely going to get out of that one alive. 15 HP, and that might be more than we can say for Yarkor. Forced to run towards the Bolts tower line. Lasbra with a clean gank picks up first blood.
Almost good for the Leviathans, and then not so good. I mean, if Panatom lands
here, but Panatom's looking for an invade. Shinto's left him out to dry. Vin's going to make the rotation
Lasbra?
over. There's going to be the taunt. Lasbra is looking for this fight, just trying to keep him preoccupied. And with the rotation from Vin, there's good damage, but the heal from that 9 turns blessing keeps him going. Zapman kills off Jake over the dual lane. Panatom's one hit, but it doesn't matter.
Oh!
Vin is the one who gets taken down. Shinto with a great rotation. Haddix is now joining the fray, but Lasbra is not going to get saved this time around. Shinto picks up 2, Zap picks up 1, and Leviathans find the matchup they want.
It's kind of the opposite of game 1, but BRZA doesn't want to give it up that easily, trying to get some revenge.
Gold Fury started up by the Leviathans here. It's getting burned. There is not a soul from the Bolts over here. Instead, they're going to look for a kill elsewhere. They will get Yarkor, but it is a simple solo kill for the Fury. Feels like a good trade for the Leviathans.
It is a good trade for the Leviathans, but you definitely don't want to keep falling this far behind in the solo lane as Ben loses the beads to that blink ult. Now, Rongyu,
Oh, no.
thank you very much.
And hey, let's go ahead and just seal the deal to make it worthwhile for them. Jake blinks forward, drops the cage, and is going to get the Phantom out of there. Haddix joins in, and they just burst down Rongyu out of nowhere. The 3 of them get a return kill.
BRZA's on the
Overall, BRZA looking to crash down. Shinto's gotten way too aggressive here. Jake's almost dead, but the Mez sets him up. Haddix, as well as Lasbra, just lock him against the wall. BRZA gets the last hit, and they shut down Shinto.
I don't understand what happened
This is
there.
a good spot for Vin. He caught back up. That deficit we were highlighting earlier. Now Haddix is looking to set things up. A great double stun, and now the team gets to join in. A good wall actually helps out with Yarkor. They're going to find the turnaround kill onto Lasbra. Haddix is just 1 hit away, and he's going to turn it around on a Panatom instead, and he gets out with his life. It ends up being 1 for 1, jungle for jungle.
Man, what a turnaround there. I mean, Haddix plays that so perfectly to start off, picking them both up, Don't
Haddix
wait until
uses virtually everything, has no beads right now as well. It's just going to have to lay back and wait.
Panatom's on the way, and as you mentioned, no beads. Here he goes.
They're going to get aggressive on him. Half health already. Good pin, good trimmers. And there's no way you're going to be able to get out of this one. Goes for the up down, gets a little bit of healing, but he's still just outside the tower range. No help from the team, and Yarkor finally gets some payback.
Gotta know that even if Rongyu is just the one who shows up, that if he loops on you like
He's
that,
going to bite on the bolts. Leviathans are going to be the ones who chomp down. Fury started up already at about half health. Jake, Haddix right around the corner. Good jump in from Rongyu. Picks up Jake and brings him back to the team. They drop the Fury, and Jake has to drop his cage before his life gets dropped down. He jumps out. BRZA crashes in. Rongyu is one hit away, and BRZA picks that one up. Yarkor cleans off the support for the bolts. It's 1-for-1, and now Yarkor's versus the world.
double stun, good interrupt on that Mez, and Yarkor's gonna fall, but BRZA now in trouble.
And he's got the damage to turn it around, but not enough to get the kill. Panatom picks him up, and now Zapman with a collateral kills off 2 in one shot. Lasber's the last man standing for the bolts, and he's not going to be able to run away here. It's a 14-minute deicide for the Leviathans.
And they've still got the damage alive in order to go and grab this Oni Fury, and that's where the difference and the Mantle procced at the same time, so no stun came home. And the bolts have to try and do a better job of keeping Jake safe off the rip as BRZA, speaking of rip, rest in peace, Barracuda, Zapman with the easy solo kill.
Bringing us the Boomer 1v1,
Yeah.
the throwback to the 100 Day. BRZA, I believe, won the honor joust. Still forced to fall back here. Lasber's trying to get aggressive alongside Jake. Cage not dropped just yet. The dash out from Zap. There's going to be the cage. Phantom's going to be here. The crits are ringing true on the other side. Finally, they shut down Zapman with the dive from BRZA from Lasber, and they're going to take out Rongyu with them. They're taking quite a good amount of poke from the tower. Vin comes in just to help seal the deal. And the bolts pick up too.
Good example again. Sometimes your job
though isn't as susceptible to that damage as what we have seen in the past, although that might have been spoken too soon. Now he's looking to get locked down. Great wall from Yarkor, and then a good taunt follow-up. Shinto gets the kill onto the opposing mid laner, puts himself up 2.5 levels.
And it's just backline diff in the level department right now. BRZA has caught up to Zap because of that shutdown and double, as I was mentioning, but a little bit ago, it was a combined like 6 levels down in mid and ADC for the bolts. And even if your front line's doing good work, this is going to start happening to them where they can just get gunned down by the damage from the backline. 3 in a row now for Shinto, 5-1-5. And he's still hell. Like, he's still scaling at this point.
You had wanted to see this a little bit ago. They got the Pyromancer. Now they're going for the Fire Giant. Leviathans taking it down already at half health. Haddix spots it out. You have BRZA making his way over alongside Lasber. Lasber still has his ult, and Jake is the one who's getting aggressive. Drops the cage, but his health bar drops faster. Zap going to pick him up on the disengage with his ult. And that is one front line stripped away for the bolts.
And BRZA's already used the ultimate. He's out of mana, so he can't continue this. This is going to be a Fire Giant for Leviathans. And Jake just unable to withstand the onslaught. I mean, no Spectral Arbor for him. How could he? He only got 3 items. You know, how could he have had time to itemize against the level 20? Haddix wasn't able to really get a good ultimate. He only got a Magi's in that situation from Panatom.
Oh my god, Zapman almost at one shot.
Okay.
Then and does take care of BRZA. He just shows up and kills him 7-1-4. Don't step to him. I was about to commend them taking the tier 2. Get out of there.
Okay, sorry.
Oh my god.
Sorry, sir. I gotta go into the booth and apologize to Zap.
How big was that crit?
Just in case I angered him at some point today, because otherwise he might be doing that to everyone. He is just going off right now. 11,000 player damage. And when you've got a Hell, you know you're going to be able to free cast because they're going to be all ending the Hell. When you're going up against a Hell and the ADC isn't killing your whole team, you've got no options anymore because you need to kill both. And the chances of you killing either one feel pretty slim now.
Well, hey, they knocked down a couple of tier 2s here. Leviathans feeling way better about their chances. More than 10 seconds left before BRZA joins up. In fact, you know what? They're going to go ahead and send Jake to the grayscale as well. 40 seconds without your Odin support. You lose your mid Phoenix, you lose your right Phoenix, and they're going to on left trying to get this left-hand Phoenix. Rongyu throws down the Bracer, so he's going to have not only the vision, but the buff for his team. Zapman and Shinto leading the way. They don't quite get the Phoenix, and it's going to be Haddix who steps up to the team. Zapman's half health. Zapman's getting chunked down. Jake is looking for a little bit more. The Aegis, the ult, it's all used. And and
Cage?
Zap's going to be able to get out of there. The turnaround is looking a little bit better, but BRZA picks up the kill onto Zap. They pick up the kill onto Shinto, and it's the other 3 members for the Leviathans remaining. Can they get rid of BRZA? One more hit is all it takes. Panatom cleans that one up so far now. 2 versus 2. That's all that's left. Vin, low health, but good turnaround. Haddix, good stun onto Panatom, but it looks like they're just trying to get away.
Yarkor doesn't have the blink, but he's just trying to keep Ven in combat and make sure that Ven can't go back to base, because look at this fire wave coming down the mid lane. That being said, Gore, I mean, right side isn't pushed up. They aren't going to be able, these minions aren't going to end all by themselves. As Ven goes in?
He's going to jump onto Yarkor. He gets the kill, but now Panatom's here. Panatom doesn't have the taunt. Vin doesn't have his cooldowns. That's going to be a good pin from Panatom and a kill. Kind of a delayed deicide. They kill off all 5 of the bolts there. And you had mentioned it, they're going to deal with these fire minions. Ooh, Lasbra just now uses his ult, comes crashing back down to the blue buff, dealing with the fire minions on right. BRZA dealing with fire minions in mid. Fire Giant just a minute and a half shy from being enhanced, and Jake is getting burned down. Deja vu to the last FG fight. He's gone before the bolts can even reply. Now they're looking for Haddix. They're going a little deeper. Panatom goes forward, misses the taunt this time around. Lasbra blocks forward, but Zap just does the damage that is necessary. He's almost dead though, but it doesn't matter. Triple kill for Zapman before he goes down, and that's going to be the deicide for the Leviathans. Shinto picks up the other 2, and they run down to in-game 2.
Zap for 5, baby. We're back right in Zap's wheelhouse. They get Zapman, but lose the game. 10, 3, and 10. A double-double for Zapman for the 2-time. And man, that's the problem with this Leviathans team, is that normally Shinto's the win con. But when Zap has a game like that, all of a sudden he can really start to feel it. And this is where he does it, man. He steps up for these big LAN events. Gore, I felt in my bones this game was over whenever Zap soloed BRZA.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as, when your ADC makes a
whether
big
or not it's
play
successful is an entirely different debate, but I think it's just such a volatile matchup in this mid lane between this Raijin and Hell, because even in the 1v1, it could go either way.
We'll see who's going to make the bounce back and take the lead in this set. We're going to take it to the casters to see how it all breaks down.
Game 3, somewhere both of these teams have been quite a few times this phase against each other, and we'll have to see who is going to pull the advantage. I'm going to go ahead. That's fun. I like poking fun at it when they're this slow. We'll see if they can do something here, though. Wrong. Use the one who gets caught out. A good ult coming down from Haddix, locks him up. And just in the blink of an eye, 12-minute first blood. Feels good to call that one out. And you finally get the lockdown if you're the Bolts. Take a 500 lead and turn it to 1,100.
Hey, sometimes that quick shift into the extra.
In general, 4 members, 3 members of the Leviathans over here. Haddix gets stunned out, locked down, taunted up, and they're going to keep chasing him. The wall's not going to get enough separation, but a good stun. The tower helping him out. Some trembles. He's just buying time for his team to get here. Haddix goes down, but Lasbra comes crashing in. Yarkor is incredibly low, but a great taunt from Panatom pulls back the Bolts. They leap through, and the Leviathans get their kill and get out.
What a play from Panatom, man. Gets the kill onto Haddix.
Controlling this lead. The Leviathans have to play things a little more cautiously. Normally, and we've highlighted this, Odessa said it too, Game 2, a very important one. Game 3, maybe more important. Yarkor running at the Bolts right now, has backup. Shinto, Zapman, and crew about to join the solo lane skirmish. Tier 1 has no health. Panatom blinks forward. They're looking to continue this chase, but the tremors from Haddix are enough to pull them back. A 5-man grab from Jake, but not all of them are getting pulled in. He's going to eat a little bit of damage in return. Vin is half-health. Vin is taken out there. Shinto, credit for the kill, and they're going to be able to dive even deeper. Sent through the realms is going to be Lasbra, dead on impact. Solo for 2.
Hey, and the big one is the hell that they got. And what do you know, Gore? It's like, this Raijin, who highlighted it, the last fight, Jake grabbed 5 people and got 5 beats throughout that team fight. We should be trying to fight here. Just pulling Wrongview, I don't think is good enough.
Well, he gets only Wrongview. They get the kill, and that's going to be beneficial. But is it going to win them the fight? BRZA forced to ult to get away from Yarkor. Yarkor continuing the chase down onto Haddix, who's at 2/3 or 1/3 HP as he keeps getting taken down. BRZA killed off by Zapman in the back. Lasbra too low to engage. Haddix has to retreat. Jake left on his lonesome under. A Tier 1, that doesn't matter. We're 23 minutes in. Leviathans keep chasing him down, and they're looking for more kills. Right now, they've only killed off the Hunter. They're going to take the solo laner for good measure.
And that should be Fire Giant here for the Leviathans. I mean, Lasbra no ultimate for a long period of time, and Ven no relic, so he's not going to be super interested in stepping up to help. And I really feel like the Bolts had the right idea without a fight. They're going to have to try and do it. And remember, no real secure on either side.
Yeah, Jake, Haddix are the ones standing at the forefront here. Fire Giant at about 1/4, still dropping. Zapman doing the DPS. They're going to go ahead and let that one stay back. Immediately, Yarkor to the back line. And Jake up into the front line, trying to pull in as many Leviathans as possible. Doesn't pull in anybody. In fact, eats his health bar. Almost dead. One more hit will do it. And Zapman's going to be able to secure the kill onto that one. Yarkor leading the way for his team. Lasbra forced to dash away, one hit away from BRZA, left alone next to Haddix, but he's trying to turn around and fight. He's way going to find a kill. Yes, he at least gets rid of Shinto, but he loses himself. He loses Haddix. Zapman finds 3, and they're going to turn right back to that FG.
Man, such
well, the branch of Yggdrasil. I don't know if he has much steal potential. That thing's going to time out before he's able to crash down in there. Fire Giant, once again, 1/3 HP, dropped by the Leviathans for a second time, and the aggression. Hey, guess what, Venenu? You're left alone this time, and Panatom's chasing you down. No healing available just yet, but a great pull from Jake. Peels for the mid laner and keeps him alive. Unfortunately, he's now half health, and the Leviathans are going to keep going.
Too deep for the Leviathans. Panatom gets walled off, and the rest of the Bolts, the cavalry has arrived, and now you've got the Hell and Ares sustain. Fire Giant like that. But you can't take the dive onto the Hell, especially understanding that everyone should have said, yeah, she's got both of her relics. That's too deep in that situation.
Oh, speaking of too deep, I don't even know if Jake was that deep, but he is gone. Zapman, credit for the kill. They get the Pyromancer for the Bolts, but what will it cost? Haddix is now the next on the chopping block. Nothing left to survive. Zapman gets the double kill, assisted there by Shinto. Hey, Lasbra, guess what? You're the next one up. But he does have that dash, does get the disengage. The Leviathans are not letting them get away with anything this game.
Man, just way too far forward there from Jake, not respecting the Terra CC whatsoever. Range CC, the bane of Ares' existence.
Oh, Yarkor, maybe the bane of the Bolt's existence right now because he's turning it around, setting up his team. They drop the FG, Vin goes down, BRZA gets sent through the realms, comes crashing to his demise, and Lasbra waiting on the branch, jumps down, deicide here for the Leviathans. They're going to get an FG and find themselves in a really comfy spot.
They should hold this for EFG as well. I mean, they should DPS this low and then hold it there, but they are a little bit weak in order to do that. They've got a little bit of Terra sustain, but the Bolts just kind of doing the same mistake that the Leviathans just did, all-inning onto the wrong character in that position. I mean, the RDO is not the one to try and kill in that moment. Yarkor just baits a little bit too well. Shinto has hit the late game stage, and all of a sudden, he's doing too much damage for the healing to really contest.
4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Leviathans get themselves. Means it's not quite dead just yet. Leviathans have to put in a little more work. Yet they're timid to go ahead and get aggressive. Terra healing, keeping them going. Phoenix goes down. Bolts start to fall back. Haddix gets a stun onto Panatom. The Leviathans are going to go ahead and go for the engage. Panatom gets isolated and killed off. The rest of the Leviathans turn to run.
Terra doesn't have that ultimate anymore. Used it just now in that engagement. And yeah, they kill Panatom. They send the Leviathans running. Leviathans don't care.
One of the two, because they are the ones that are falling deep in the backline of the Bolts. You have to watch. Left side fire minions starting to run into the base. Mid fire minions right there at the tier 2 line for the Bolts. They're going to be able to get aggressive. Zapman gets caught out. He goes through the Bifrost, though. That gets him out alive. But is it enough? BRZA gets a huge crit. One more hit is all it will take. Lasbra is able to find it. They shut down Zapman, and now they're trying to turn this fight around. Haddix gets a good stun on Shinto in the back, but they're so separated as of right now. The Phoenix is taking damage in mid all the while. They need to win this fight, or the Bolts. BRZA, Lasbra go down. Yarkor is so close to dead, but they aren't able to secure it. They've lost most of their damage dealers. Vin's just trying to keep them alive, but they're forced to run away.
Titans dying at the same time. Bolts on a clock, but Vin gonna step up and try and send someone back. Shinto now down to a sliver, and Haddix gonna finish him off.
They're gonna be able to find a little bit more. Vin's going for the back. Titan 1/3 HP, and they're trying to stall out the Leviathans. It will be a back from Rongyu. It will be the back from Panatom. 9 minutes in. It'll be the second enhanced FG that we've gotten to see. We'll see what they can do with it as they're getting aggressive. Panatom almost goes too deep. It's getting low. Haddix is going in. They're going for the kills, and they're gonna actually be able to come.
No!
The Bolts take the Fire Giant away! Jake is going to be able to pull someone back in. They get a kill on Zapman. They do lose Vin in the process. The fight still rages on. Yarkor burned away, and now they have BRZA's damage to thank for it. Lasbra's deep in the back line, and the Bolts are looking for more.
But who's backing? No one's backing yet from the Bolts, and BRZA's in trouble now as Panatom has chased him down. Jake is here, but someone's got to go back. Rongu, stop! No, he missed! He didn't stop Haddix's back. That might have been enough in order to change the course of this game, but the Bolts steal away the fire. He's not getting a Phoenix, and that's all that matters. So this is a much easier siege to defend against if you're the Leviathans. They have better wave clear than the Bolts had, and they only have one wave.
Well, there's Haddix, blinks in, gets his ult, but doesn't necessarily do anything. Lasbra jumps into the back line, and he's going to be looking for a little bit more. Jake does not get any pulls. Haddix ends up going too far, and it's the turnaround. The Leviathans get the kill, save the Phoenix, and they're not pursuing anymore.
And that's the hard part. Whenever you only have one option, when your offense is one dimension.
But now, it is that vision that's maybe going to be paying off. It's what allowed specifically Lasbra to get so deep into the backline. Panatom right now is pushing up mid, so he's away from his team, but maybe in a great spot to try and find a loop around if this fight breaks out. Bolts move forward. Bolts start running backward. They get back over to the solo lane, and that's actually going to be the engage here. Yarkor's the one trying to do it. Haddix is trying to get it going. Lasbra goes up. Panatom's on Vin, and it doesn't seem to be worrying Vin too much. His health bar is just fine. They dive in. Lasbra on the back onto Zap and trying to find a little bit more, but it's the forefront. It's Panatom right now who is taking too much. Pulled right in, taken right down, and Lasbra gets both relics from Zapman, still stays alive.
Man, the lack of blinks from the front lines on both sides really coming into play, but the fact that Panatom dies, relics are down for Vin, and Taiko drums are still up. Let's see what plays Shinto can make.
Oh, they're going to get aggressive. Yarkor slowed, stunned, and killed this time. It's a
Shinto!
3v5, but the damage, is it going to be good enough? Haddix ends up getting burned down. Vin is going to get taken down as well. Shinto's damage looks great, but can BRZA maintain the top? The answer is no.
Got them all.
Zapman gets a double kill. Lasbra left alive, and the Leviathans say, let's just forget the FG and go get that Phoenix.
Gotta be you can end in this position as long as Lasbra doesn't find a way on to Zapman in particular, but Shinto's got both his relics, so Shinto's job in this situation is just to bait his life and use his relics properly in order to secure the DSI.
All right, Lasbra, show us what you got. He's able to get onto Shinto, but he takes way too much damage in the process. The full-on DSI. The Phoenix will go down. The Leviathans will take game number 3. A little bumpy there towards the end, but they find their way to victory.
Look, that fight was so awkward at the beginning of that engagement. It just did not come to pass like both teams really expected. But I looking at that diamond for Shinto, that my man still has Taiko drums, his full build Raijin going into that fight, and the Bolts just did not play around that
first. And aside from the Supernova, I think it's going to be really difficult for the Bolts to channel off a lot of their aggression against this Leviathan's composition.
And Bolts do have a very tall hill to climb here for game number 4, and they've got a lot on the line to try and bring it to a game number 5. Can they do it? The casters are going to be the ones who bring us the action to see if that's possible.
4 events in a row, this Leviathans team has been stopped by the Bolts. And usually around this semifinal time is where things come just as much as it is on mine. And the Bolts are looking to get aggressive. It's going to be the Leviathans instead that jump in. BRZA as well, Vin and Jake trying to get away this time around. It's Jake at half health, but it's Panatom who gets burned down for first blood. Lasbra is able to find that one, and the rest of the Leviathans just turn and run. The Bolts knew what they have. They're going to even go for a Scorpion.
Man, what is Panatom waiting for to drop the Winds of Shamash? An invitation from the Bolts matchup? But no frenzy on this comp. It's kind of like you're missing a condiment on your burger. You know what I mean? Something's not quite right.
It still tastes fine, but like you said, something's missing. Primal Fury right now is missing about half its HP, but it doesn't seem to be getting dropped too much. Leashed a few times there and back to restorative full health. Yarkor takes a lot of pokes, so does Haddix. Lasbra goes deep into the backline of the Leviathans, but he's the one who's getting caught out. Forced to jump away. Up into the sky goes Zap, where his snipe's going to be ringing true. BRZA flying around on his chariot. The fight is divided, and Zap is alone. Haddix recognizes it, is chasing him down. He's at about half HP. A good stun from Jake, and they're trying to lock up the Hunter. There's going to be the ult from Haddix, and Zap's going to be the first one to fall down. But what's it going to cost for him? Lasbra regroups with his team. The rest of the Leviathans try to collapse in, but they don't have the damage, they don't have the chase, and they just have to sit past. The Leviathan's still in the spot to fight.
A bit risky though. I mean, BRZA has no relics, no beats for Ben. Wrong-U's ultimate's coming up.
Oh, the Pyromancer goes down. Bolts are able to secure that. Wrong-U low and forced to fall away. Hasn't been able to get that Xing ult until just now, and it's not going to be enough. Shinto, on the other hand, gets right to where things need to be. Kills off BRZA. Vin has no mana. The snipes from Zapman are going to be able to secure the kill. Jake is just forced to watch as his carries die, but Haddix, Lasbra in the backline. Panatom forced to run in a safe path, and might not be safe enough. Lasbra's coming around the corner, gets the taunt, gets the kill, but will they be able to return it? Haddix goes down under the tier 2. Jake looking to root out Yarkor, gets a stun even on the disengage, and it ends up being a 3 for 2.
And greedy pull there from the bolts on that Pyromancer. You just can't
BRZA and Vin both in that engagement. You had mentioned how it wasn't necessarily a good call already for the bolts to start it, but they're the ones who end up getting burned down first and foremost. They get this tier 2 on left. Wrong-U goes in for the ult, does get some beads, but doesn't get too much pulled back towards him. There is the damage. Snipes from Zapman looking to find any damage and potentially a kill on to Haddix, but it's Lasbra left alone. Goodbye 4-0, goodbye perfect record. He gets killed off.
And not enough help for him on that backline dive. I mean, the bolts just can't close that gap. Blink not used there from Jake, him and Jake on these blink-ins and who they can get on top of and that kind of stuff. That all matters.
Well, isolated so far. Venenu chased down by Yarkor. That's going to create some separation. Lasbra is in the backline waiting for the Leviathans. They've started the Gold Fury. It's half health as of right now. Aggressive is Jake. Blinks forward, throws the ult out. Vin goes in. Vin gets taken down. Shinto, credit for the kill, and he's going to be ringing true for his damage, but he's at half health right now. The Taiko drums have been used, and Barracuda is isolated. 3 members of the Leviathans trying to get him. Unfortunately, that means they don't have enough to save their own mid laner. They lose Shinto in the process, and now it's the turnaround. What can they pick up? Lasbra ult back up, thrown onto Panatom. He's going to leap away. It's a 3v4, and Zapman tries to ring true.
Oh!
Stunned out. He has to roll away. He's still alive as of right now, but how much longer can he last? The damage is good. That's a kill on the Lasbra, finally taken down by Haddix, but Jake is isolated. They're still going for the Leviathans, and they're still looking for more. Turn it into a 3v1. What can Haddix pick up? What can he find? And right now it feels like the answer is nothing. The cripple field, the root, the lockdown is too good. The full-on deicide for the Leviathans.
Is Artio good, by the way? How much healing did
Fire Giant, so they've got that little bit of a debuff. It's at half health. They're going to go ahead and leash that. Jake leaves the pool. Haddix is going to be the one who's aggressing Lasbra into the backline immediately onto Shinto. Shinto into the Taiko drums, and here comes BRZA. But what? Gets hit down! Zapman is the one who takes him out. Lasbra still gets the return kill onto Shinto. Snipes ring true. Zapman lands. Panatom gets the kill for Lasbra. Now it's a 3v4, and they're chasing him down. Vin just trying to stay alive, but he's not going to escape it this one. And guess what? It's the Artio one more time.
And this time it's Shinto for 4 instead of Zap for 4. The dive is good onto the mid laner, but the rest of the Leviathans make the bolts pay. Not enough damage left in the tank to take down anyone else. And now this should be an easy Fire Giant for the Leviathans. And it's the same story, Gore. They're able to execute these initial dives just fine. You know, we know our target. They get on top of them. We're suicide bombing for Barracuda, BRZA and Lasbra in order to kill Shinto. And then what's the plan to deal with the Artio? What's the plan to deal with the Rom? They just don't have one, and that makes it really, really easy for the Leviathans to show up and win the team fight after the fact. This team is working so well as a unit, and it's difficult to stop if you don't have technically it's a win. But they're the ones, Fire Giant, they're the ones that need to be making plays in this position, not necessarily the bolts.
You're going to need a little bit more, and more they want. They're jumping in. Haddix is isolated. Haddix is getting burned down, but Jake throws out the ult, gets the spread. Lasbra jumps into the middle of the fight, but there's the spin to win. The control looks good. Shinto's half health still alive. Taiko drums, going to be throwing out not a lot of damage, but Vin is just getting melted. Does make it into the Zaparate, stays alive. BRZA comes crashing down into the backline, and maybe too deep, eats most of his health bar to do so.
Zap up, needs to hit him, hits one, and he takes down BRZA, but Ven's still alive.
Gonna be able to make it back to the fountain, get the healing, but look at the rest of the bolts. They're starting to crumble. This Leviathans team has never beat them in a playoffs, but they've taken out 2 of them. They take out a Phoenix, and they're looking towards the Titan.
Have to do it now. You got 45 seconds, wave coming on the left-hand side, so you actually have some time, but Fire Giant buff probably not up for much longer.
Haddix right now trying to defend. Lazarus still in the backline. Haddix getting shredded as they speak. The Leviathans looking to do it. They're taking down the Titan, and they're able to get it 15-7. And in 3 games here in a row, they take out the Bolts.
The